Welcome back to Time to Give Back. The last time we met, we talked about the possibility or even the probability that we can get in our own way when it comes to utilizing opportunities or assistance that's available to us. We also started a list of quality of life assets and discussed the concept of giving those assets their true, fair, and appropriate values. We have positive qualities, behaviors, and habits and perspectives on this side of the scale that we need to appreciate more, and we have negative aspects such as bad friends, bad habits, and counterproductive thought processes on this side, right? If we not only increase the value of the good aspects, but also decide we're going to eliminate some of the things on the bad side, and then give less value and effective weight to what remains on this bad side, we're bound to have a heavier positive side of the scale. So again, we want to not only devalue some of these bad things, but we want to put them in their proper perspective. And some of those things, they actually don't matter, or we can get over it if we try it, or we can just actually turn it off. Some of them are actually easy to escape, and then, so we want to get them off the scale completely. We use something that I call priorities math to properly account for and assess the value for elements on both sides of the scale. After recalibrating the values of positive and negative elements, adding up the good and deciding to subtract the bad from our scales or our lives, and totaling up our assets and liabilities, we can better assess our lifestyle as being either positive or negative. So today we'll be discussing our first return, and I'll walk you through what I call the effective effects math to show you how and why I swapped today's return for the one I had planned to do. The effective effect math, so effective, E-F-F-E-C-T-I-V, affects, A-F-F-E-C-T-S, math. Effective effects math doesn't involve numbers, but rather scenarios and real-life examples to assign weight of priority between issues or concepts. Okay, that's what I'm doing. This is how I made that decision. So let's begin. Consider the following. Humans have a list of things that comprise our common plight. We all have this plight, this struggle. So basically, the stuff in life that we all have to deal with until the day we die. A non-stop barrage of general problems, weaknesses that lead us to have some bad habits, some chaos here and there, some turmoil in relationships, trauma, stress at home or work, depression, a serious addiction, or dealing with someone who has a serious addiction, or even something as life-altering as a terminal illness, or someone who we love that is experiencing that. But even with these major issues, you can still be functional in your moments of strength, your moments of sobriety, clarity, your moments of peace. You can still have epiphanies. You can still be inspired. You can still do something good, something right with your life, the life that you have left. And all of us only have the life that we have left, right? No one knows when how long you're going to live or when you're going to pass on. For instance, babies are born stillborn, and they haven't even taken their first breaths. So that's as soon as you can die. And, but on the other hand, there have been people who have been diagnosed with terminal illnesses, and they have long outlived that prognosis date, So you never know. But if you have a mental illness that's denying you the clarity and control of your own mental faculties, you are being denied one of the most critical and fundamental definitions of what it means to be human, which is your freedom of choice and the ability to build on and utilize your human intellect, your common sense, and your spiritual nature. In order to figure out, and you use all of those things in order. But if you have a mental illness that's denying you the clarity and control over your own mental faculties, You are being denied one of the most critical and fundamental definitions of what it means to be human, which is your freedom of choice and the ability to build on and utilize your human intellect, your common sense, and your spiritual nature in order to figure out your place and purpose in life. So to me, mental health is absolutely paramount and is the key to being able to utilize the positives in life, the opportunities in life, and give appropriate value to our list of quality of life assets, and to be successful in overcoming all obstacles and achieving our greater goals. So, enter mental health as a variable in our effective effects mathematical equation. That's the first variable. Now, with that being said, reconsider that list that makes up our common plight, right? We have as humans that we face together every day. Every type of day-to-day problem, right? Weaknesses in willpower and self-restraint, chaos, trauma, stress, depression, and the serious addictions, and even the terminal illness. Think about that list. We all either have some of that, know somebody who's going through that, which definitely affects us, or it could easily, some of that can easily be our problem tomorrow. What occurred to me was that no matter what's going on in life, if in your moments of clarity, sobriety, peace, or strength, if you can manage to have one thing, all other things seem possible, if only for that moment of clarity, that moment of just some sort of strength, inner strength. And that one thing is hope. You can have problems, you can have weak moments, you can be immersed in chaos, you can suffer a trauma, you can be depressed, you can have a serious addiction, severe mental illness, and you can even be, diagnosed with a terminal illness. But if you have hope, there's a window of possibility. There is a powerful leverage or a positive energy that can improve the quality of your life that you have left. Now, I know that it sounds dramatic when I say life that you have left, but let me put it in perspective a little bit. Those who are so depressed that they are contemplating taking their own lives, and those who are debilitated, are incapacitated to some degree to the point where they see no point in living, those who are stranded in countries surrounded by bombings and death, or those who have been devastated by traumas. Most of the, and I'm talking about traumas that people could not imagine surviving, like somebody fell from 47 stories and they survived. The young lady that won the Nobel Prize, she was shot in the head. Things that we normally wouldn't think you could survive, those kind of traumas. And then not only that, but there are people who have such a sense of self-loathing that they don't believe they deserve to live. They believe they deserve to die. And those enslaved by addiction who feel that they're not even alive. And finally, those who are weary and utterly fatigued from their battle to maintain control of their own minds and emotions due to mental health issues. To these people, the phrase, life that you have left, it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. And it's that serious. These issues can be that serious. So, but every one of these people have had reoccurring moments of self-empowerment, sobriety, inner peace, clarity, and a realization of the true reality that they're facing. Seeing the truth about anything is extremely valuable. It's arguably one of the most important things any human can achieve. Being in touch with reality should be our goal with every interaction between ourselves and every person, place, and thing. And of course that includes processes and behaviors, conditions that we are in, and beliefs. So I'll say it again. Seeing the truth about anything is extremely valuable and is arguably the most important thing that any human can achieve. Being in touch with reality should be our goal with every interaction between ourselves and every person, place, or thing. Every process, every behavior, every set of conditions, and every belief that we encounter. Consider the following perspective. Some people don't believe in hope because it's associated with faith. And some might try to devalue hope by confusing it with things such as optimism, cheerfulness, or being laid back. But think about this. Being practical can temper a person's optimism, but a practical person will still have hope. A person can have cause to lose their cheerful demeanor, but they can still have hope. And being laid back can sometimes be a coping mechanism for folks who have very little hope left in their tanks, while a person who seems to be the opposite of being laid back can maintain a practical amount of hope. With hope, it's easy to be optimistic. With hope, it makes sense to be cheerful. With hope, being laid back is a good way to go. Without hope, there's no point in believing. There's no point in trying. No point in trying a second time or giving someone a second chance. There's no point in loving. No point in working or earning. No point in trying to find solutions to the problems. No point in even addressing any issues or improving yourself or the world in which we live. So what about people who don't believe in hope at all? Or at least they think they don't. Well, one manner of having hope is believing in tomorrow. Not necessarily a better tomorrow, just another one. One more day to do what you want to do. One more day to change if you're into that sort of thing. One more day to get what you want, to find what you're looking for in a career, a belief, or a soulmate. One more day for any of the other possibilities that may exist. Expecting a tomorrow is a part of having hope in all that is possible. So if you think you don't have hope, you can look at some of the core characteristics of having hope, and that's one of them. It's just waking up tomorrow wanting something, anything. I mentioned these scenarios and challenge these perspectives so that we can take a serious look at the amount, the quality of hope, the amount of hope, the quality of hope, and see if we're settling for some lesser substitute of hope that we have within us. So you have to ask yourself, are we functioning on a lesser byproduct of hope? Can we refine the hope that we have and utilize it better? Is there a way to research hope and a way to maximize what it's good for? These are all worthy questions. And if I had all the answers, I'd answer all the questions. But these are some things to think about. Okay, back to my math. It occurred to me that even those with the worst of mental illnesses or issues can have moments of clarity. They can get counseling, they can get therapy, and if necessary, they can get certain medications that they need. But even with treatment, those who reach a state of wellness often only return to a regular mode of living. So they're basically joining the rest of us who are blessed enough not to have these issues. And as we all know, regular life is quick to offer up a million reasons to lose your mind. And as we all know, regular life is quick to offer up a million reasons to lose your mind. Life is tough, it's tricky, it's scary, and it's sometimes brutal. It can derail even the strongest of minds. I hypothesize that some of the people who have struggled with mental health issues sought and received counseling and therapy and come through it on the other side have come through it with a mental toughness that most of us have yet to achieve. Because there's a lot to learn when it comes to the promotion and the protection of our mental wellness. And these people who seek therapy, they get that therapy. They get a lot of the answers that they need. They have to dig into themselves and do a lot of the work that needs to be done. Take a quick poll of the people who have suffered from overwhelming problems, weaknesses that cause bad habits and other issues, chaos, trauma, stress, depression, and serious addiction, even mental health issues, and even terminal illnesses. People who have survived all of that. You'll find that many of those who have recovered put hope as their number one quality of life asset because of the journey they endured. Okay, I hate to do this to you, but I have to say this. Let's get started. I'm sorry about that, but that was the preface for how I came to put hope over mental wellness when it comes to these returns. Just a bit of challenging the perspective on hope, waking up the concept in your mind, and focusing on it so we can take it serious. The rest of this won't take long, but here we go. Hope. Get it any way you can. That's the theme of this return. This series, this Time to Get Back series, it's a motivational effort, but it's also a process for trying, doing, and succeeding and achieving, and trying to be happy, and setting up an environment whereby we surround ourselves with truth, reality, positivity, and hope. Without hope, it's natural to sit in as a critic of everyone and everything involved in the process that we have hope in. So whatever it is that you're trying to do, maybe it's a project, maybe it's fixing a relationship, maybe it's getting out of a rut and getting a better career going, there's a process to making that happen. And when you discuss it with different people, if they don't have hope, they can become a critic of your process and your dream and your goal. And so you want to have hope, and you want the people around you to have hope. Because without hope, you can become cynical, inattentive, judgmental, impatient, intolerant, irritated, inconvenienced, and otherwise not inclined to be reached by those who offer help or offer hope. So first, let us seek out hope however we can by doing a little homework. And so here's what we do. We've got a short list of things we can do. First thing I would do is go online and do a search for the various definitions of hope. And contemplate the definitions from other cultures and beliefs. You would be surprised at how beautiful the descriptions of hope are from, different countries and different civilizations during different eras. Do a search for sayings and affirmations which inspire hope. A lot of people are big on the affirmations. They post them wherever they are, their car, their refrigerator, work. Do a search for poetry which inspires hope. Poetry, one of the ways to think about poetry, it's an art and it's an expression, but it can also be the most beautiful definition of some concept or idea. So you read the definition of hope, but if you want to hear and feel a beautiful definition of hope, you can look up some poetry and see it in that style. Seek out the truth about hope as communicated within every religion. See what the Buddhists have to say. See what the Christians have to say. See what the Native Americans have to say. The Aborigines, the Taoists, the agnostics. They all, humans will come up with a way to express hope because we need it. And so check out other people's version of or expression of how to receive hope or to envision hope. Pause the things in your life and start a conscious process of healing, because we're all a little agitated and irritated and preoccupied. Get some time to yourself. Kind of meditate a little bit on the potential and the possibilities regarding hope. And just on a day-to-day basis, every so often, take a chunk out of your day and just, contemplate the concept of hope and the idea of wanting it. Because when humans want something, we go for it. Go to where hope lives. You don't want to go to church. You don't want to go to the mosque. You don't want to go to the synagogue. You don't want to go to temple. Go to YouTube. Go to YouTube and see what they're saying inside of those places. Because religions they're huge. There's a huge basis of hope built into religion. Gotta be. If it's not, it's probably not worth doing, right? So look at those different religions and see what they say about hope. Because one thing about the truth and one thing about these ultimate qualities like hope is that if it's the truth, then it doesn't matter who has it. It's all of ours. So go get it. Go visit the folks who actually have hope. So you have some friends, you have some family, some co-workers, some acquaintances, the dude at the store, whomever. Seek them out and give them a visit. They make you feel good. You wonder why? Well, because they have hope. And when you talk to them, you exchanged a little bit. And so go visit some people who have hope. Hang around some folks that have hope. Make some friends who have hope. You must have hope. Hope opens up the heart to truth, self-forgiveness, self-appreciation, redemption, and the type of inspiration that leads to self-motivation. You must have hope because without it, negative emotions can become the truth. Negative perspectives can determine your reality. And you have to fight that, and you fight it with hope. You must have hope because hope is the basis of the second most powerful form of mercy. The mercy that allows you and me, allows us to forgive ourselves and redeem ourselves in our own minds. Next is building upon the value you give yourself and giving your hope the power that it deserves. What good is having some hope if you don't cultivate it and nurture it and grow it and then use it for the power, as the power that it is. If you base your hope on your value of yourself and you base your self-value on how you believe the world sees you and values you, then neither your value nor your hope will be on the level that it could be. Your potential will be based on your perspective of their perspective, and that's neither fair nor appropriate. Let me give you an example. If you were that one guy in that one TV show or that one lady in the movie, you would love yourself. You would treat yourself right. You would stand up for yourself. You would never let anyone get you down or judge you unfairly. You'd have confidence, and you'd never understand why anything in this world would ever be able to get you down, because you're awesome. But as we all know, every single celebrity and star has issues. They are humans. Furthermore, if you took a poll, you'd find out that some people don't even like your favorite celebrity. They don't like him as much as you do, or her as much as you do, and some don't even like him at all. You'd find that some people actually have their reasons for not liking this person, your favorite celebrity, and you'd find people who believe that they actually hate the celebrity. Now since they don't actually know the celebrity, that's not the basis. It's not very strong for that, but that's how they feel. So your value and your hope can't be about how the world views you. Value yourself, okay? Have hope in yourself and fight for your right to be awesome to yourself. And do what's good for you. Now, when I say do what's good for you, I don't mean at any cost, like some gangster or something like that. I mean what's good for you. So it has to be good, and it's what's good for you. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have a friend, and you tell them, anytime you need me, you call me. So they call you at 4 in the morning, and they need you at 4 in the morning, and you help them at 4 in the morning. It's all beautiful. But if you have a friend who calls you at 4 in the morning every day because they're an insomniac, well, you need your sleep, and that's not good for you. So you have to take a stand, and you have to use your judgment, right? But more importantly, what I'm saying is you have to value yourself and your self-worth and what's good for you, and you have to stand up for that. So this idea of valuing yourself and then seeking out hope, because the hope has to come from within you, right? But first you might have to, research hope, like the homework what I gave, where we look it up and we look into it and give it some thought. You may have to discover hope. You may have to really open up to that concept. And you have to generate it from the inside. And so I say to you, go for it. Get to it. Go on an adventure as an adventurer, and go on a quest to go claim what is rightfully yours. Hope and self-value. And fight for your right to be awesome. And fight for your right to be awesome to you. I'm not going to lie, there's a lot more work to be done than getting off your couch, packing a snack, and going on a journey to discover hope and self-value, right? And we all have issues, flaws, bad habits, negative influences that are working against our better judgment, and a certain amount of ignorance that causes us to make poor decisions now and again, and a certain amount of maturing that we are still undergoing as we live and learn our way through life. So change and maturation is a huge part of growing our character, our decision-making skills, our self-value, and our hope. Patience, tolerance, the willingness to learn, and self-forgiveness are all huge variables in the process of maturing. So yeah, I spoke about hope and self-value like they were a journey you could pull off over the weekend, and then I added the slow and arduous requirement that is the lifelong process of maturing. Sorry about that. But the good news is that all humans have the same journey. We all have to work on things and to go through the process of maturing. And so there's no blame in being wherever you are in that process. Part of this Time to Give Back series is about reminding us all to get back to the critical steps and processes, the obligations and the work that we all need to do and to put in order to jumpstart our real lives. You know, the lives that are more than the job, more than the money, more than the stuff money can buy. We have to get back to revisiting our goals, our dreams, and our extraordinary potential. Those are real things, not just a movie, and it's not just the forward in a self-help book. Those are real things. Now for some more hope homework. Think of the most beautiful place you know, some exotic grand palace, exotic place, location, some beautiful vista, or even some awesome human-made facility or building somewhere. Now think of those places as being completely run down, burned from inside out, rusted beyond recognition, abandoned, and very dark and creepy. No one wants to go into a place like that. It's filled with this fear and abandonment and failure and some negativity and perhaps even some sort of evil or whatever. You feel something like that in places like that. Such a place is like the human body, and within that the human heart, and within that somewhere maybe the soul and the mind. These places, a place like that has no hope to give it the power, the light, the life. Those things which power such things as love, joy, compassion, mercy, forgiveness, ambition, consideration, tolerance, resilience, rejuvenation, perseverance, and the motivation to continue to be, the will to live. All of these things take emotional energy and a type of fuel that scientists cannot quantify. How do we know that? Because when you engage in an exercise of any of these acts, kindness, giving, all of these things, or emotions like compassion and some of these other things, you can feel the drain on this energy. Whether you're exhausted after a joyous celebration at a wedding, or maintaining a calm head in the presence of those who are insulting you, or keeping a positive perspective when working with, like let's say you're a teacher with students who are refusing to do their share of their, educational obligation, or dealing with somebody who, or if you're trying to be courageous in a maybe a life-threatening situation. Let's say, for instance, you're trying to let your anger dissipate while somebody's road raging against you on the highway. Any of those things where you're trying to do something good, something positive, or giving, or anything like that, in the face of really the opposite, something negative, or somebody who refuses help, or somebody who's angry. When you use your positivity against a negative, you can feel your energy levels decrease, and you may even sleep better that night because you're physically fatigued and mentally as well. But maybe also spiritually and in some other kind of way. These are different energies. So whether it's huge chunks of emotional, spiritual, physical, or mental, or other energy that is being dumped in one instance, or small, barely noticeable nibbles or punctures that leak out our energy over the years, we can feel our power diminishing per episode. We know because we use our power and energies on our kids every day, through compassion, our co-workers every day through tolerance, our projects with our ambition, our self-esteem through motivation, our friends through support, our spouses with love and forgiveness, and our attempts to carry on each day, which uses our perseverance and our hope. If these powers and energies didn't run low or even run out, we would not feel drained after trying, after striving, doing, caring, sharing, and giving. And since they do run low or can become depleted, we must admit that we need time to replenish them, and we need the right people in our lives to help us use these energies wisely. When I say wisely, I mean if we were in a relationship with someone who refuses our love and our compassion and our consideration, we would drain ourselves dry of these positive efforts in our efforts to offer them to that person. Then not only do we run out of those loving energies when it comes to dealing with our friends and family and the stranger, whoever comes into our life, we also have nothing left for ourselves. And so we start to lose our tempers with other people and with ourselves, and we start to lose our love for ourselves. We're not awesome anymore. Furthermore, without the reciprocation, we drain ourselves and then must rejuvenate those positive energies using our own reserves and resources. That's not fair, it's not acceptable, nor is it sustainable. More along the theme of this time to give back return, we want to realize that we can do better. Okay? We deserve better, and we want to position ourselves using a plan and a process to achieve that better way, right? So the first thing is, first of all, reciprocation. It's not always I give to you, you give to me. It can be I give to her, and then I left, and then she gave to me, and then, and so it comes and goes from different places. You can, spend all day working with children and feel, just tired, and you can go somewhere else and be revived by a good friend or a person at a gas station. But that reciprocation is fundamental in rejuvenating our power stores that we need in order to feel like we're ready to give and to do and to be good and positive. So it's not fair when you don't have that reciprocation. And what we have to do is we have to take a stand, and we have to say, listen, I deserve better, I want better, there is better, and I'm going to go get it. So I will warn you that very often, if not always, we all have a ton of cleaning up to do on our side, right? In our minds, in our own perspectives, inside our own souls, and generally with regards to our own character, with regards to our expectations, our priorities, and assessment of our list of quality of life assets. You might have to rewind that and listen to that again, but that's important. It's not about blaming and abandoning our current relationships and world and running off to something new and shiny. There's some work we have to do on ourselves, and that could actually revive a relationship in itself, right? We used to like them, but now we don't over the years through different situations and conditions. But you improve yourself, and all of a sudden you're beautiful to them again, and then they treat you right. And when I say beautiful, I don't mean aesthetically. I mean, they see that soulmate, and they see that friend that they used to have. And sometimes we're not that anymore, and it's because they did this, and it's true. But if you fix yourself, two things, you have two options now. You fix yourself, you can now see if the beauty returns in the relationship, they see it and give it credit, appreciate it. Or when you plug yourself in somewhere else, you're plugging in a better person, right? You don't want to take the person that's angry in this relationship and plug that in somewhere else, right? That's what the baggage is all about. So we have work to do on our own selves before we would abandon something that we already have invested in that's worth something. Consider this. Humans, we're designed to interact and reciprocate with each other, to share and to exchange and to give and to receive, and do help and support one another every day. And that way we recharge each other's internal power supplies with the energies that we need to do good, to think positively, and to have hope, and to, share that hope with other people, reignite other people's hope. But there's another way to recharge our energies, and that's by doing more good, investing in others, improving ourselves and our environment, and replacing truth for our ignorance, our misunderstandings, our misinterpretations, our prejudices, our flawed perspectives, and bad habits. So, for instance, with the bad habits, the truth is it's a bad habit. The truth about the bad habit is that it affects you negatively. The truth about it affecting you negatively is that has repercussions that carry on into... So the truth, it's a good medicine for all of these things, right? It's a good medicine for ignorance. It's a good medicine for misunderstandings. It's a solution for misinterpretations. It's a good way to overcome prejudices and so on, flawed perspectives and so on. Using our positive qualities can deplete our energies. So too can using our positive qualities replenish those same reserves. How do we know? Do something good and see how you feel. During this Time to Give Back series, I feel like there are certain returns that are really gems. I call them gems. And I call them gems because they're so beautiful in their effect that they should be visualized as something beautiful, like a gigantic diamond or a ruby or something. They are truly gems that you would just stare at and go like, and we need those, and we need to remember them, and we need to remind each other of them, need to share them and take them and hold them and polish them and celebrate those gems. Those are the gems that make up the list that are on that quality of life assets list. So these gems have to be recognized, they have to be appreciated, they have to be given value and added to our list of quality of life assets. And this is one of those gems. A perpetual motion machine uses its own energy to create and sustain motion. Those aren't real yet, but there's some pretty cool close models, prototypes of those. So that's the thing, you can look that up, perpetual motion machine. Well, I submit to you the concept of a perpetual motivation machine. And that is the giving in order to replenish that which you need in order to give. One more time. The concept of a perpetual motivation machine is that of giving in order to replenish what you need in order to give. You spend all day teaching people who don't want to learn, then you end the evening by learning from a person who loves to teach. And all of a sudden you're back. You are mentally tired of planning logistics for organizing a food pantry, and then you totally recover when it's time to give away the food the next day. So doing good to recover from and recharge for doing more good. You gotta think about that. That might need to sink in a little bit over time. But that's the concept of the perpetual motivation machine. Hope is powerful, okay? Hope is the powerful, unexplainable force that keeps us going. It gives us the power to plow through the hopeless situations, cope with hopeless people, and do so with a mighty superpower that makes others wonder and admiration. I mean, honestly, when somebody is in a situation where everything looks gloomy and only negative remarks are probably going to come up, and somebody says something beautiful that lets it all slide away for everybody, it's just, it's remarkable, and we appreciate it when we see it. And hope is also the tiny pilot light and the last ember that can reignite the flame of all the other energies so we can try one more time, even after we thought we had failed or that we had nothing left. How does hope work? Does its power begin in the heart, the spirit, or the mind? You know, if humans discovered this, they would bottle it and sell it, and I would buy it. Hope is a gift. It cannot be quantified. And while its embers can be reignited by inspirational acts of others, hope can neither be given nor taken away by others. If you believe that someone has stripped you of your hope, then you have made a very common mistake in misunderstanding the source of all hope and how it can survive every type of assault. And if you believe that someone has given you hope, then you have also made the exact same mistake in understanding. That being said, we still have a duty and an obligation to guard our hope from all that would assault it and diminish it, and to try to reignite the pilot light or the embers of hope in other people. Finally, for some, having hope is a mystery. It's a struggle and a daunting task. But for all of us, it is a necessity and an obligation to find hope however you can. Okay, thank you for joining me for this episode of Time to Give Back. You can provide feedback and return ideas by sending email to the email address provided in this video. I'll also include the email address in the description as well. Now go do something good until you feel the difference that it can make.